The Standard Response Protocol, SRP, provides guidance for schools and responders to facilitate clear, consistent emergency response actions. The SRP is not a replacement for any school safety plan or program. It is a response enhancement for critical incidents designed to provide consistent, clear, shared language and actions among all students, teachers, staff, parents, first responders, and the community. Response actions require everyone to understand their roles and how to respond in an emergency. The SRP consists of 5 standard response protocols: hold, secure, formerly known as lockout, lockdown, evacuate, and shelter. Hold is used as a response when it's necessary to restrict movement within a school or building. The announcement for hold is, hold in your room or area, clear the halls. Hold in your room or area, clear the halls. Reasons for a hold might include a medical emergency within the building, an altercation in a hallway, a broken water pipe, etc. Students in the cafeteria, outside, or not in a classroom should remain in their area or follow additional directives. Students are to remain in their classrooms or areas until the hold is lifted. Secure, formerly known as lockout, is announced when there is a hazard or threat outside of the building. It is a response action to secure the perimeter of school buildings and grounds. This may be due to an emergency or police activity in the area, an unauthorized person, or a potentially dangerous animal on the grounds. The announcement for a secure lockout is secure, get inside, lock outside doors. The action and directive are repeated. When a secure lockout is announced, teachers and staff assigned to exits will check for students immediately outside doors and bring them inside. Post secure lockout signs. Secure the doors. Assign multiple staff to each area to ensure all exits are covered. If you are outside the building, get in as quickly as possible or you will be locked out. You are not to leave the building, even if that includes going to classes in other buildings or leaving campus. Where possible, classroom activities would continue. When the school is notified about a possible danger in the immediate area, the administration is to be informed and the secure lockout action and directives will be announced. All staff should be empowered and trained to make appropriate response announcements. Announce secure, get inside, lock outside doors. Secure, get inside, lock outside doors over the public address system or other established communication methods. Bring in any students immediately outside. Post secure lockout signs. Secure the exterior doors. No one will be allowed in or out of the building. Plans should provide for students and staff in all buildings, including portables. It is important to recognize that students and staff in areas that are outside or that cannot be secured may require moving into a more secure building. Lockdown is announced when there is a threat inside the building. This may be due to an intruder or an altercation in the building, an active shooter, or any threatening situation requiring the securing of students and staff. The announcement for a lockdown is lockdown, locks, lights, out of sight. Lockdown, locks, lights, out of sight. The action and directive are repeated. When a lockdown is announced, students should quickly move to an area of the room that is out of sight from doors or windows. Students immediately outside the classroom shall be brought inside. Turn off all lights. Lock the door. Do not slide red or green cards under the door or display in window during a lockdown. Stay quiet and out of sight. Silence and darken all devices. Take attendance only when it is safe to do so. Maintaining silence is a priority. If you hear gunshots, loud, alarming sounds, or see someone with a gun or exhibiting violent behavior, go into lockdown. Do not wait for an announcement. Include in your response planning actions that include self-evacuation. If your environment allows for a safe evacuation, that may be an option. Do not use red or green cards for lockdown, as it might acknowledge the room is occupied. Once the door is locked, no one is to enter or leave until responders open your door with a key and escorts you out. If, during a lockdown, an additional hazard manifests itself, such as a fire, flood, or hazmat, then additional situational decisions must be made. There should be discussions with your local emergency responders and your local fire marshal about reacting to a fire alarm if it is activated during a lockdown. The lockdown announcement should be given as soon as possible. After the lockdown announcement, turn off the lights and proceed to the nearest securable room or location. Remain silent and stay out of sight. Locking down in an office equipped with communication systems may assist in relaying needed information during the emergency. The SRP uses an all-hazards approach. In the event of an active shooter emergency, it is important to be aware of all response options available to ensure lives are saved. Specific to an active shooter response, avoid, deny, defend, developed by alert, provides a set of actions an individual can take during an act of violence. Avoid includes moving away from the source of threat quickly. Deny, similar to the actions of lockdown, includes actions to deny the shooter access to students and staff. If you cannot avoid or deny access, be prepared to defend yourself. It is critical to know your options and to be prepared to defend yourself. Evacuate is announced when there is a need to move students and staff from one location to another in an emergency. The announcement for an evacuation will be followed by a location, such as evacuate to the flagpole. Evacuate to the flagpole. When an evacuation is announced, students should quickly and orderly head toward the evacuation location. Depending on your district or school procedures, you should leave belongings behind. You may be asked to close but not lock the doors in case of a fire, or leave the doors open for some other evacuation reasons. Listen to instructions. Upon arriving at your evacuation location, take attendance and use the red and green cards to communicate visually if someone is missing, in need of medical attention, or everyone is accounted for. Depending on district procedures, cell phones may be taken with students if quickly available. Do not take time to retrieve them from backpacks. As with all response protocols, evacuation should be drilled and exercised from various locations and at various times. Shelter is announced for responding to severe weather or a hazardous materials release. The announcement for shelter is unique in both hazard and response strategy. An example of a severe weather response, in this case a tornado, is shelter for tornado, move to designated shelter area. Shelter for tornado, move to designated shelter area. Make sure you pay attention to the hazard and the safety strategy provided. During a severe weather shelter, students should leave their belongings and move to the designated severe weather locations. Close but do not lock doors. If hallways are the safest areas identified, keep students at least 30 feet from exterior doors and away from large panes of glass. If safe to do so, take attendance once you are in your shelter location. It is important to listen for any additional instructions and updates, as severe weather can change quickly. The announcement for Shelter for a Hazardous Material Release is Shelter for Hazmat Release. Shut windows, seal exterior openings, and shut down HVAC systems. Remain in the room for further instructions. For a hazardous material spill, all exterior doors and windows should be closed and sealed. All circulation systems need to be turned off. This may be accomplished within the building, or some systems may require turn-off from a central district location. Be prepared to move from a shelter for a hazmat release to an evacuation of the building at the advisement of local responders and officials. To learn more about the Standard Response Protocol, please visit the SRP Texas Edition Toolkit on the Texas School Safety Center website. If you have additional questions about the SRP or school safety and security, please feel free to contact the Texas School Safety Center.